Hello, dear beloveds. I am so delighted to be with you here on this Friday afternoon. I don't know what's happening in your world, in the part of the world you're in, but here in Melbourne, in Australia, our school holidays have started today. So I'm sure that there are lots of people busy with their gorgeous kids. Mine have just gone off to their grandparents for the night. And so I'm going to do this last act of service for my day. And then I'm going to pop off and take my dog for a walk and enjoy a beautiful evening. But right now I have made the plan to connect into the energy of Maryam, who is the High Priestess energy of the third level program, because she's been so present with me lately, and that's been such a blessed gift, and to really respond to whatever questions that were asked. And so in my earlier post, I asked people to put forward some questions that they have so that we can go in and see what Maryam has to say. So very often what I'll do is invite you to just nominate yourself, and we'll see whatever energy is around and whatever information comes through. But this is a little bit different today. I wanted to do it in a way where you could actually ask specific questions about your life. And we've had two beautiful women volunteer. So we have a question from Lisa and a question from Shannon. And Lisa's question is around the idea of, okay, I love my service in the world, my intuitive work, and what I'm blocked around or what isn't flowing is making money from my service. So making a good weekly income. And of course, that is a really beautiful one for me to connect into this higher consciousness to respond to, because, well, not only will we not get, we'll get a bigger perspective, not just the human perspective. We're also, part of my purpose is to train women so that they won't be in poverty, no more poor light workers, that we are able to connect to the abundance that we are, so that we can go out in service in a way that is going to reflect what we are, which is infinite and unlimited. So we're infinite and unlimited, and we're doing our work from that space. Why would we not be able to make our money from it? And it's one of my favorite things to talk about. So we're going to tune in and answer that one from that beautiful multidimensional space of consciousness that Maryam holds. And Shannon has asked around another archetypal question, which I'm so excited about. The question of purpose. I feel I have a purpose that's bigger than my current life situation. My life doesn't reflect that bigger picture purpose. How do I connect into it? And this is another magnificent question that we are so often called to ask on this path. Why doesn't my life feel like it matches, or that big vision? Even if I don't know what that vision is, I feel like there's something big in there, and this 3D reality is not in congruence with that. So we're going to look at those two questions, and I'm very excited because I think that all of these, these two questions are, they're archetypal, which means we carry this inside of us as well. So these answers are not just for the women who've requested them, but for all of us who are here now. These are archetypal questions. These are big, soul-shaking questions that we have probably all asked ourselves, or will ask ourselves, as we step out onto this path of service. So we're going to tune in to the beautiful energy of Maryam. And as I said, it doesn't matter if it's your question specifically being answered. If you're here, the information that is coming through is specifically for you. And we're going to, really tune into archetypal energy. Even Maryam is not to be thought of as an individual kind of human personality, but an archetypal consciousness that is multidimensional, transpersonal, beyond space and time, and certainly beyond physical form, and is in that way omnipresent. So we're not thinking about, we're tuning into the energy of an individual person who's sitting up somewhere in heaven just waiting to answer our questions. We're attuning to a frequency. So when we channel, we are attuning to a frequency, and we all have the capacity to be incredible channels. Channeling is an egoless state, and it requires us to sit in that space of absolute humility, to be willing to become the vessel through which infinite consciousness can express itself. So we become simply the transmuter of a far greater consciousness. And for a temporary time, our energy is elevated to that frequency. And it is an incredible blessing. It's one of the favorite parts of the third level that my students like to train in, because it feels so good to be held in that energy. But it's not about connecting into an individual identity. It's not like trying to tune into Jesus or Kali or Mary. That's where ego comes into it, because that's when we're over identifying with form. The work that we're doing is to become non-local, non-material, and not to be thinking in individuated identities, but rather to know that all is one, and we have the capacity to attune to that frequency at will. And humility is the way that we get into that energy. People can often feel as though, we won't go down that path. I want to focus on getting this beautiful information directly from Maryam, but understanding that we're tuning into that beautiful frequency of the High Priestess, and that's what matters about the work that we're doing here today. And so the answer, undoubtedly, the answers will come from that place, that absolute place of fearlessness that comes when we're not ego identified anymore. Okay. We'll begin with Lisa's question. And if you're safe to do so, I'd invite those of you who are here with me now just to take a moment to tune in, because we all have the capacity to hold a higher frequency in every breath. We simply need to make that choice to surrender more of the human ego-identified self, move further into our infinite, unlimited, non-local consciousness that is our true nature. And if you can't close down your eyes, just soften your gaze, withdraw your attention from the superficial world. And let's begin by deepening our breath, slowing it right down, inhaling, holding, exhaling out through the mouth with an audible sigh. Letting go of all the effort required to bring you to this moment in your day. And do that a few more times, and then once you feel yourself arrived in this moment now, just let your breathing return to its own natural rhythm, in and out through the nose. And taking your hand to the center of your chest and just placing 2 fingers or the palm lightly there, allowing yourself to acknowledge that you defer to the wisdom of your heart brain now. Feeling yourself surrender, dropping out of the cranial brain into that heart brain, and expanding easily into that field of infinite consciousness all around us and inside of us. We are not the ego-identified little self struggling to make sense of an unkind world. We are gods. We are unlimited in every way. And everything we need is right here. We simply have to be willing to alter our vibration. Hello, dear sister Lisa, and thank you for your question. I am Maryam, and I'm very excited about the adventure that we are going on. And tonight, I respond to your question of why is the abundance not yet flowing? Why is the abundance not yet matching the sense of purpose and intentionality of your work. Why is it there's still a gap between what you know to be true of your service and how you're able to be remunerated or see it show up in 3D reality? And the answer is simply because there is still a disconnect in the sense of worthiness of who and what you are in the world. So there's still a belief that somehow you are not God. You are not yet able to give yourself full permission to inhabit that truth. That you are not like God or doing God's work, but that you are that. That shift in perception of what you are is that correction that will bring everything into alignment. But here's what will happen when that occurs. The work, the medicine that you offer will become clear like a laser, cutting through the noise, the chaos, the busyness, the other people's stuff, and the other things that are out there. And it will be this clear point of focus, like a laser that cuts through everything else. And not only does that make everything you offer so much more powerful, it finds the people who are destined to work with you with so much clarity. Because this is not you alone, as you're well aware. This is the alchemy between you and those that you serve. But there's this disconnect still where there is this sense of suffering caused by unworthiness. And if you were with me now, my darling, I would ask, do you understand? But my feeling is you do understand that there is this holding this low feeling of yourself sometimes and letting yourself fall into that belief. And that shift in perception to the correction of who and what you are, to the truth of that I am that, will take this burdensome pressure off you that you are the one who has to get it right. You're the one who's carrying this load of responsibility. And you will shift into that expansive truth that I am that. And therefore, everything that comes out of me is of that level of perfection that is God consciousness. The work is to fall in love with yourself as God loves you, which is to say that you fall in love with yourself because you are God. So there's no God out there who's going to fall in love with you. There is simply the recognition of what you are. What will happen, as I've said, is that laser-like precision in what you offer, and another way that I want to say that is that the medicine that you offer will be the frequency will be so clear to people that they will find you. And at the moment, the frequency is still dropping in and out because the doubt rises and the fear rises, and I'm wondering if this is right, and did I get it right, and is this the actual thing that I'm meant to be doing, and how do I pay this bill, or how does this happen? All those noises make the frequency drop in and out. None of this is a fault or a blame or, oh, you have to go and fix this. This is simply more surrender, dear one. It isn't a problem to be solved. It is the willingness to surrender to what you are, and to be unafraid to admit to yourself what you are. And that correction of perception will take care of everything else. There is a higher order, another level, a deeper depth, a greater vastness to what you do and will do in this world. And it's still being uncovered. And that is part of the blessing of the journey. Ultimately, what we want you to know, as we will want our sister Shannon to know also, is whatever is right in front of you is your service. So your work is not holy and special just when it is spiritual work or intuitive work, but it is everything that is right in front of you. And when you are seeing everything as part of your service and not seeing, yourself in separate ways, which you do so well, but there is still more that you can do there, then you will find that abundance flows towards you, that effortlessness of people being able to access and source what you are offering. But there is greater depth to what you're offering, a deeper medicine, and it will unfold itself over time. So please be patient. Even though it may feel like you've already been so patient, we ask you just to stay the course, to be present to that act of falling deeper in love with self, because that is the way that everything else will transform. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for letting us serve you, dear sister. So we're now going to move to, and Lisa says she does understand, which I'm very happy to hear. The second question from Shannon, which is around, I feel there is a bigger purpose than my external 3D reality is reflecting back to me, and I feel like that there's something bigger for me. And I'm paraphrasing here, but I think that was the general idea of it, is purpose is the word that I wrote down. What is my purpose and how do I find it? Because this world around me doesn't seem to reflect what I feel like is inside of me. So let's go into that, because that is undoubtedly an archetypal question. What am I here for is a question that echoes through the infinite. The question is asked by so many here on earth at so many different times that it's like the chorus of the cosmos. It resounds like out into the infinite field, because there's so many who are looking to know their deeper purpose. What I'm going to share with you today, sister, will both delight you and disappoint you. And I want you to understand what we share, because it will also set you free. You do not have a special purpose. Nobody has a special purpose. Likewise, you have the most important purpose on the planet, as does every single human being who is here. There is no individual ego-identified purpose. That is the illusion of the ego that tries to keep you separate from living your holiness right now, waiting for special conditions, or something has to change, or I have to have more clients, or I have to have any clients, or I have to get out of this job, or I have to change my relationship, or I have to lose weight, whatever the story is. And this is not just for you, but for all. We put all these special conditions between us and our sacred service, our purpose. But here is our purpose. Our purpose is to serve whatever is right in front of us. Whatever fear rises, whatever need we see, our purpose is to be that most forgiving, most compassionate, most loving person in the room right here and now, in whatever conditions present themselves. So if you have an unkind boss or a mean partner or an unhappy marriage, or whatever the scenario is for you, that your job is to find God in that situation and to be forgiving of that situation. Now, that doesn't mean you stay in that situation. That doesn't mean that you live with that mean person, or you stay in that crappy job, or whatever the scenario is, but to get on board with it by recognizing that your job is not to say, that person is the reason I can't find my purpose, or this job is the reason that I don't get to be spiritual in my day job. But that every single thing that comes into your life is what you have been presented by God to serve. Your job is to serve what is right in front of you. Everything is holy, and to make everything holy by bringing your holiness to it, so that you can set others free as you set yourself free, to forgive, to find compassion, to not be mean about other people, to not gossip, to not belittle others, to not go into your own story. This is the work of our lives, is to meet our fear relentlessly by using the conditions that God puts in front of us. Whatever life situation is in our lives is the medicine that God has given to us to overcome our fear. And that is the purpose of our life, my darling. It's the purpose of all our lives. It is the one purpose. It's how we evolve. It is how we awaken. It's to work with the conditions of our life. And what happens when we get on board with that and we work with the conditions of our life is that then our life starts to become a blissful miracle. And suddenly we do get to spend all our time doing things that we love most. But the purpose of our life is not to find out, am I a coach? Am I a mentor? Am I a healer? Am I supposed to write books? Whatever you want to do it. Go and pursue that. Whatever you want to do it. But don't believe that that is your special purpose and that that's the place that you do your special work, and that everything else in the rest of your life you can just be a muggle. Everything in our life must be seen as a holy thing that has been placed before us by infinite consciousness to serve our awakening. And our one purpose in our life is to awaken to what we are, which is God. So we must learn to be God in every situation, even when we want to be angry and bitter and be the victim and be afraid and be ashamed and feel like because things have happened to us, we are no longer ready to go out on that path. And I want to say now that I hope that excites you rather than disappoints you, because it's the ego that wants to believe that until we find our special magic purpose, we are never going to be able to fulfill our destiny. Your destiny is the same as everybody else's destiny. Meet what is right in front of you and bring God to it. Illuminate your life and let your life then change as a result. Until we do that, we will continue to repeat the same cycles, hoping that something external to us will change so that we have a reason to change. The change is our change in perception of our life. We stop seeing it as the reason that we're not getting where we want to go, and we start seeing it as the tools or the next block, the building block in the mountain that we're building of our vision. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all of those who have joined me. It is my privilege to serve you, and it is my privilege to let Maryam speak through me, and it is my privilege to live this blessed and holy life. And I am 100% on board with whatever God puts in front of me, and to stay out of judgment is absolutely my purpose, and to be willing to see that that is my job. And you know, I would love to think that my purpose was that I'm meant to be the principal of an institute and get to go to Bali twice a year, and that's the special task God assigned to me, but that's all bullshit. I've created that because it brings me so much pleasure. But my purpose is to be the most forgiving, compassionate, and loving person in the room. And I don't always get that right, but that's my job, is to turn up every day and do the very best that I can. And that is what I believe brings my abundance, because I'm getting congruent and I've got it in the right order. I'm not trying to create an external reality that will then make me feel like I can be spiritual and holy. My external reality might not look spiritual at all, but that's because I'm not looking at it as God sees it. Okay, dear ones, I could talk about this all day. Thank you for those beautiful questions, Lisa and Shannon. Thank you for letting us serve you. Thanks to everyone who's joined me. Have a beautiful evening or day wherever you are, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye.